In a free market economy, many consumers are exposed to interest rates, inflation rates, unemployment rates, and other economic indicators. This video looks at how market economics work and why the government won't tell you everything that you need to know. Keep watching if you want to know more. A market economy is a form of economic system in which supply and demand, rather than government intervention, governs the economy. A real free market economy is one in which individuals own all resources. Individuals make decisions about how to allocate such resources, with no intervention from the government. There is no such thing as a totally free enterprise or market economy, though. Buyers' and sellers' desires are registered on the supply and demand sides of various markets. The results of these decisions is a price system for goods and services. Prices serve as guideposts for consumers and sellers as they make and update free choices in pursuing their own self-interests. Free markets are frequently envisioned as having minimal to no government intervention. In actuality, though, governments intervene for various reasons: to stabilize markets, regulate transactions, establish institutional frameworks, and even to enforce contract law and property rights regulations. Governments can also interfere in the form of bailouts and other economic emergency measures when markets fail. The economy is complicated, but if we all knew the 6 secrets about market economics the government is hiding from us, it would help us to understand how our political and social decisions affect not only our own lives, but the world. Number 6. Regulations and corporate tax. The business community rarely protests about bailouts to specific industries, possibly because they are well aware that their industry may one day want assistance as well. However, Wall Street is opposed to restrictions and taxation, because while subsidies and tariffs might provide the industry with a competitive advantage, regulation and taxes can often hurt profitability. During the first bailout, Chrysler's CEO was Lee Iacocca. In his autobiography, he cites one of the key reasons Chrysler needed the bailout: the rising expense of ever-increasing safety rules. This pattern can be noticed in other industries as well. As rules become more stringent, some smaller providers are squeezed out by the economics of scale enjoyed by larger corporations. As a result, there may be a heavily regulated industry with a few huge corporations that are inextricably linked to the government. High corporate profit tax have a different effect in that they may deter enterprises from entering the country. Just as low-tax states can entice businesses away from their neighbors, low-tax countries prefer to attract any movable enterprises. Worse, enterprises that are unable to relocate wind up paying the higher tax and are at a competitive disadvantage in both business and in obtaining investor funding. Number 5. Subsidies and tariffs. Subsidies and tariffs are essentially the same thing from the taxpayer standpoint. In the event of a subsidy, the government taxes the general public and sends the money to a specific industry to increase its profitability. Tariffs are levied by the government on imported items to make them more expensive, allowing domestic suppliers to charge higher prices. Both of these activities have a direct market impact. Government assistance for a business is a tremendous incentive for banks and other financial institutions to provide advantageous terms to the industry. This preferential status and financing from the government means that more capital and resources will be invested into that industry. Even if it's only a comparative advantage, this is still government support. This resource drain has an impact on other, more globally competitive industries, which must now work harder to obtain capital. This impact is amplified when the government serves as the primary client for specific industries, resulting in well-known cases of overcharging contractors and chronically delayed projects. Number 4. Interest rates. Interest rates are another popular weapon, even if they are frequently employed to combat inflation. This is because they can stimulate the economy by making borrowing more affordable. Lowering interest rate through the Federal Reserve, rather than raising them, encourages businesses and consumers to borrow and buy more. Unfortunately, this can also lead to asset bubbles, in which, in contrast to the steady depreciation of inflation, massive quantities of capital are destroyed. Which takes us nicely into the second way that the government can affect the market. Number 3. Bailouts. It is no secret that the United States government is eager to bail out industries that have gotten themselves into problems during the 2008 and 2010 financial crisis. This was known before the crisis, though. The 1989 saving and loan crisis was hauntingly similar to the 2008 bank bailout. but the government has a history of salvaging non-financial enterprises such as Chrysler in 1980, Penn Central Railroad in 1970, and Lockheed Martin in 1971. Unlike the direct involvement under the Troubled Assist Relief Program, or TAARP, these bailouts took the form of loan guarantees. Bailouts can skew the market by modifying the rules to allow for the survival of poorly run businesses. These bailouts frequently harm the rescued company's shareholders or lenders. In a normal market, these companies would go out of business and their assets would be sold to a more efficient company to pay creditors and, if possible, shareholders. Fortunately, the government only uses its power to protect the most critical industries, such as banks, insurers, airlines, and automobile manufacturers. Number 2, currency and inflation. Only governments have the legal authority to create their currencies. Governments will typically like to see currency inflation if they can get away with it. Why? Because it gives a short-term economic boost by increasing the price of companies' products. It also lowers the value of the government bonds issued in the inflated currency that are held by investors. Inflationary money may seem wonderful for a while, especially for investors who watch corporate profits and share prices skyrocket. But the long-term effect is a loss of value across the board. Savings are worthless, which penalizes savers and bond buyers. This is excellent news for debtors because they now have to pay less to retire their loans, which hurts individuals who acquired bank bonds based on those debts. Borrowing becomes more appealing as a result, but interest rates quickly rise, removing that appeal. Number 1, buyers and sellers meet and the right price. All products are sold thanks to 3 short words. Often, that is all it takes to get one's heart racing. The French Revolution was encapsulated by the words liberty, equality, and fraternity. I love you is the foundation of many successful relationships. Life, liberty, happiness are at the heart of the U.S. Declaration of Independence. For many economists, those 3 magic words are supply, demand, and price. In a market transaction between a seller and a buyer, the price of a good or service is determined by the supply and demand in that given market. Supply and demand are, in turn, determined by technology and the conditions under which people operate. At one extreme, the market could be populated by a large number of virtually identical sellers and buyers. For example, the market for ballpoint pens. That's all for now. We hope you enjoyed our video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with others. And remember to subscribe to our channel and enable that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads. Thank you for watching, folks, and we'll see you next time.